For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite podcast app. Glad you found us. A couple of weeks ago on the show, we had our radio producer, Suzanne Howler, on the line. And what I like doing is I like calling, usually it's Bonnie Winters, our executive producer, but I like calling a staffer and putting them on the spot and just asking them random questions. And we were on such a roll with Suzanne. We ran out of time, though. We kept rolling. After that episode was done, we just kept going. And so that's what you're going to hear on the show this week. And it starts, this is all pre-taped stuff, so it's a clip show again. I'm going to throw to some clips. And it starts on the Scribble right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
JB here, back on the show, joined by Suzanne, our executive producer. We had such a great demand for her last time that we thought Bonnie's not available, so we should bring her back. Suzanne, how are you?
Always happy to be Bonnie's replacement.
Yeah, moms are interesting people. I don't know if you know any.
Did you say mimes?
Moms. Mom. Well, I wish... sometimes.
Mothers?
Don't you sometimes wish a mom was a mime, everybody? Don't you, though?
Well, being a mother myself, I think not. But yes, I know a few interesting mothers.
All right. So we have an Ask JB segment, one of our very popular segments here on the show, and I'm going to pretend that it was an email sent in, but we're talking about my mom, okay? So,
Okay.
we know that my grandma last year died after the corona, and the house was still in the family for quite some time. So several months ago, it was then sold because, again, my grandma died last year. And it's then up to my uncle, my aunt, and my mom to figure this out. My grandpa died about 13 years ago. So they sell the house. And the house is not that far from my parents' place. And my mom often will come to walk the dogs with me every once in a while. So we were walking the other day, and she showed me pictures from my grandma's house of what this new guy is doing on the property. That he had, my grandma had a huge garden, and the garden is covered up with gravel and rocks, and there's trucks parked in it. There's vehicles parked in the backyard. And I said, okay, well, whatever, sure. And then she said, and now there's a big cage, there's like a big kennel kind of a thing in the yard. And I said, all right, I mean, as long as it's not a dog fighting or, whatever, then whatever, people do that. And so she's very, very concerned about what this guy is doing. So I think that she kind of felt like an idiot because the neighbor then said, well, he's an EMT and he and his girlfriend foster dogs from a rescue. So it's kind of like, wow, bitch much? Where you're judging this person and, assuming the worst when clearly, I mean, let's both agree, a paramedic and EMT is an admirable career. I mean, that's,
sure.
and rescuing dogs. Hello. So I think that she kind of felt stupid. But she didn't stop stalking the property because then a week or two later, I did a drive-by with her at one time as well. We're very slowly driving down the back lane looking at we're surveilling my grandma's property. Now, fast forward then a week or two, and now there's 4 vehicles in the yard. And this is just this is outrageous. And my grandma's old couch, which now again was from 1960 something. It's green and yellow and blue and flowers and whatever all over it. Was in the backyard in what used to be her prized flower bed, and my mom was in tears. She said, because how could they do that to her couch? And here's the thing. She's upset by it, and it's like, well, but you sold the house for money. You don't sell it for sentiment. Like, it's different if you keep it in the family and it goes to, a grandchild or whatever. That's different. You sold it to the highest bidder. There was no emotional attachment when you're doing that for money, right? You could easily have said, I'd like to know about the people. I wanted to go to a good family. But you didn't do that. You went for the highest bidder. But wait, there's more, as we like to say. I know the story's dragging on a bit, but Suzanne never answers the phone when I call, so she's hearing some of this for the first time ever. She was in rehab. So we do. Like I said, a couple weeks later, he's got 4 vehicles in the yard. Well, I was at a restaurant with my parents, but her neighbors by the house come into the restaurant. And so my mom says, I have to go and talk to them. I have to go and see. I've got to go apologize. I feel so bad. What did you sold a house? It's not up to you to decide who gets it, right? So here I am, and I should point out this was my birthday. I'm at a restaurant with my parents. I'm at a table by myself. My parents left me at my birthday dinner, and they're now sitting with the old neighbors across and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to play on my phone and pretend I'm doing stuff now. Texting Suzanne, of course she doesn't respond. And so I'm just like, all right, cool. And I can hear my mom. From across the restaurant. I was so sick to my stomach. I just cried. How could they do that? How dare they do that?
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, it's kind of entertaining, but then it's like, oh, they're going to see that I'm with them. And so they come back to the table, and now my dad is fuming. My dad's one of these. He'll jump on the bandwagon because he's like, it's bullshit what they're doing. You got to think of your fucking neighbors. He's actually swearing, and I'm just like, Dad, he's got vehicles in his yard or whatever. It's not a junk. Well, think about it. Do the neighbors want to smell when he's working on vehicles? I said, but is that happening? Well, but it's going to. Is it happening, Dad? Is it a problem? Well, and you're only allowed, legally you can have 6 vehicles in your yard. And how many does he have? Well, he's got 4. I think that's a smaller number than 6.
2 more.
Yeah. And so in all of this, I was outnumbered. It's 2 against 1. Or I'm trying to say to them, like, this is his property. And if you're going to start picking fights with somebody, like, leave this is stalking. We drove by after dinner. We drove by again. And my mom said to my dad, "Oh, don't stop. It's going to look bad." Wait a second, back up. Where does the shed? He moved the shed. Go ahead, Suzanne.
Gosh.
Now you can have the next 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Wow. Well, in all honesty, you can see how your mom might have an emotional attachment because it was your grandma's house, and so obviously there's some unresolved issues there. However, that's just it. You sell it. It's not really any of your business anymore what they do, right? So, and if she cared about the couch, why was it left behind? If she wanted the couch to go to a good home, then you should have found a home for it and not have sold it with the house. Would be my thing, but I don't know. I guess it just matters on your perspective. Because to further continue this story, something kind of similar happened in my own situation. My father-in-law had to go into a care home in the fall, and we made those arrangements and sold his house because we knew he wasn't going to be able to come back to the house. So we sold it, and it sold very, very quickly. Well, we went back to where he lives and drove by, and the new owners are in there, and he had a carport on his house, and they've boarded it all up. It looks like they might be potentially building a garage or at least enclosing that carport area. And I was so happy to see that. We had a lot of memories in that house, and it's sad that it wasn't in the family anymore. But the fact that new owners were coming in and giving it some love, making changes, and I'm hoping that they were, changing it for the better to make, to extend the life of the house and all that. And it made me happy to see that. So I'm kind of on the completely opposite end of where your parents are with this. Is that I think it's great that they're, upgrading the house and making changes, because they're repurposing the house and making it, better for them and showing it some love. So I think it's totally a matter of your perspective. You can see the negative and you can say, oh, they're ruining it, they're changing it, blah, blah, blah. Or you can kind of say, yeah, they're changing it, but, they're upgrading it. They're doing things, and it's going to be someone else's home. So I'm kind of at the complete opposite end of where your parents are with that.
There we are. She's just called my mom a crazed stalker. We're going to get her on the line. Suzanne is going to confront her now. We don't have time. Oh, we got to do a break. Well, we're going to get my parents on the line right after this.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
So I just...
JB here back. I'm hosting a show here. Can you be quiet? All right, JB here back on the show, everybody. How long do you think our commercials are? Suzanne, how long are our commercial breaks? They are not that long. You don't have that much time to take over.
That was about 10 seconds. Aren't they usually longer than 10? Honestly, I have another phone call. Can you hear my phone?
She just called my mother a crazed stalker, and now she's trying to give us the brush off everybody.
I do. I have to answer this. I have to go or at least put you on hold or something.
All right, I'll keep telling. We'll talk about Britney Spears while I'm on hold.
You
go
can
ahead.
Talk. I'm answering my phone.
All righty. So we've been talking about my mom in the last segment. I was just saying how she, this isn't the radio show. This is the podcast. I can just keep talking. You already heard that segment. So, bottom line is my mom was saying that the guy is not buying the house to sit there and go, oh, well, I should memorialize this woman's, house and her things, right? Like, it's really not his business. If you want to modernize it, you want to make it new. Arguably, my grandma's house was very outdated. It was very much, like I said, the couch was, green, yellow, flowers, and who, if it's a young guy who's, why would he want to keep that, right? And that was something that I'd said to my cousin, too, like Suzanne had mentioned, is, well, if the couch meant so much, then why didn't anybody take it, right? So, it's sad, obviously. I'm not trying to just kind of sit here and knock my mom, but I'm kind of concerned. My parents are retired. They should be out, having a blast, out going and doing things, traveling, picking up new hobbies instead. The unfortunate thing is...
It's called spying on the neighbors.
Oh, here she is now. But it's unfortunate, right? Because they happen to live so close to that house that, they literally drive by it. I would say almost any time they go to the grocery store, to,
And see, that's really difficult, right? It's really hard, especially, given the circumstances of his Emma's passing and just the sort of the situation we're in. It's really difficult. Like, you understand that it would be, really hard to see that every day, and then to see all the changes. Like, I do sympathize with them, for sure.
Do you think if more time would have passed, though, would that have made a difference?
I don't know. I don't know. It depends on how they process things, and if they have unresolved issues or whatever. See, for me, I don't live where my father-in-law lived, so, we don't go to that house very often, but I just have a different attitude about it. Like, I'm all for the, move on with things and get on with your life. Like, you can't change it. There's no sense in dwelling on the past and all that. Maybe as I get older, maybe I will change, but for me, I'm just like, yeah, I'm moving forward, looking to what's ahead, and sometimes it's hard for people to do that, right? Lots of people are sort of stuck on how things were.
I wasn't listening. She's getting older and going through the change. What did you? I
Oh
didn't
my God,
even.
don't even get
I
me
wasn't
started
even.
on
Oh
Don't
boy.
even get me started on
Yikes.
That's a whole other show.
You were talking in the last time that we had you on that you had won $1,000 and what you would spend it on, and I believe it was cocaine, wasn't? I don't remember. What was it that you said you were?
It was my trip. It was the trip I was
yes,
going
that's
on.
right.
Actually.
Right.
Trip, yeah.
You could have bought a nice couch for that price, but
Yes, I know. With
it's
flowers
got
and everything.
a little bit of mud on it, but we have this swimwear line, Happy Bulge Swim Company, happybulge.com, and we hit a sales milestone not that long ago. I hit a sales. You don't get any cut of this, but I made a lot of money on the project, and so when I was alerted to this, it was a significant dollar amount. I said I said to myself, the next order that comes through, I'm going to spend all of that money with something, celebratory from the liquor store. And generally the orders, here I am now giving sales numbers, but generally the orders average between about, $35, maybe $50. And I thought, okay, well that's, maybe a couple bottles of cheap wine, $30, $40 of wine, it could be 3 bottles, maybe 4 bottles. And my luck, right? My luck would be the next one is going to be a return, so I'm gonna have to give back money to somebody. But or it would be somebody who uses a gift card and ends up paying us $2. Well, okay, I'll go and buy a Pepsi. There's another brand name. Suzanne likes name dropping corporate entities.
Yes.
And so much to my surprise, it was over $100 of an order, and so I'm almost basically like shitting my pants, going, am I really going to go and spend $100 at the liquor store? So that's my question to you. We kind of got sidetracked where I had just asked if you won $100 on the lottery. I didn't want to start going and talking about how much money I make, because that's not something that I do as a doctor's wife. But so you have this. Let's say that you found $120, whatever. What would you get from the liquor store? A bunch of cheap stuff or something good?
No, I'd probably get something good. If it was total sort of splurge given the circumstances, I'd probably buy a nice bottle of sparkling wine or champagne or something like that, just because, or, I would probably buy a nice bottle of champagne.
I totally thought that she was going to say it. Well, I would share it with the food court employees, because she's just like that.
I
so
share
gross.
enough by cleaning up after myself. That's a gift to them every single time I eat there. So there you go.
If you missed that segment that we're talking about,
tune in.
That was, and if I'm not mistaken, that was a big show because you revealed that secret. Go ahead and tell everybody what you revealed on that show.
I have no secrets. Quit. There are no secrets. I have no secrets. You keep saying that. There's nothing to reveal.
Are those your natural eyebrows?
As a matter of fact, they are.
She sports the Amazon Muppet collection, and it's fascinating on the beach because when the wind blows, I almost lose an eye. I almost lose an eye when I'm on the beach in Florida with her.
Lockdown was terrible, and not having access to getting an eyebrow wax is horrendous.
Well, let's talk about so you do have I guess $1,000 won't get you very much in the way of plastic surgery, but what would you get done if you got an extra, if I was generous enough to give you a bonus, what would you get done? What would you have worked on?
I can't think of anything for $1,000 that would
5,000.
It was going to get,
let's say 5,000. $5,000.
I don't know. I'm perfect the way I am. I wouldn't do anything.
Sorry.
Please don't choke on that.
Totally unrelated. I hear that all the time, and it is just so distracting because it's we both know somebody who had some work done, if you know what I mean. What do you?
Yes, I do.
You'd said that she was a little bit hideous before, though. I mean, it's kind of what you said it was much needed. Yeah.
Never. Nope.
It was.
Never said that.
Yeah.
Ever.
She's with this guy that we know that works at a store. Not presentable. Is that's what you said? I mean, you said it delicately, but you just said that he doesn't.
I would never say that, and this person knows I would never ever say that, ever. No.
Hold on.
No.
Let's just get on the line here.
Quit phoning people.
So
my interview.
no,
I get the spotlight for 30 seconds.
But it's 30 seconds. I mean, we're on our third show already. But
I was going to say 3 hours.
what do you? I mean, when somebody comes in and says this to you, so your daughter, she's in her 30s now. When she comes to you and says, does she call you Suzanne? What is she? What she? Ma, mother? What does she call you?
Mom is a good one.
Mom,
yeah,
okay.
Mom usually I answer to that.
But she wants you to be a mime, as we discussed earlier. But so she comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm gonna get such and such. I'm gonna get my eyes done. I'm gonna, get my thighs shaved off." What does mom say to something like that?
Well, my first question would be, where are you getting the money for that, right? So that's always the number one concern. How is it getting paid for? Honestly, I wouldn't have much to say. She's a grown woman and makes her own choices, even if they differ from mine. But I mean, when she has tattoos and stuff like that, and I wouldn't necessarily have done what she did for tattoos. But no, if it's what she needs and she is happy with her decision, as long as she's done her research and there's no harm to her, then
I mean, if it's something significant, because I mean, I know you're against the whole trans thing. You said repulsed was the word I think that you'd said last time.
No, I never said that.
See, and she doesn't
ever.
listen. She doesn't even try to deny it. She's not even denying it. So, what would be something that she would say, "I'm going to get this done," aside from more tattoos, that you would say no?
Honestly, I can't really think of anything. I mean, she's had lots of different piercings and stuff like that, and tattoos, and I have not really fully, like I said, are you sure you want to do that? Like, I don't really agree with that, but it's kind of thing where she had like, what do you call it, one of those lip rings and all that, and she ended up taking it out after a few years because it, interfered with her eating and was getting infected or whatever it was doing. I don't know. It's the kind of thing where she needs to, I'm not going to be able to stop her. She will make up her own mind and do whatever she wants to do. All I can do is express an opinion and let her know my opinion on it. And sort of alert her to any of the possible, repercussions of her actions or ill effects of whatever she's having done, and then it's up to her to decide. I can't do anything about it, but I can't really think of anything that I would, strongly object to, that I would.
Hey, Mom, I'm going to have a big, fat, juicy penis stitched on.
Okay, well, good luck with that. If that's what she needs to make herself happy, or if that's what direction she wants to take in her life, then that's up to her. I'm not going to.
I find they make me happy.
Well, there you go. See, that's all you need.
And that's the best way to end a segment. More with Suzanne right after this.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Here she is, interrupting my introduction once again. Suzanne is joining us on the line. My God. Oh, how are you? We're in hour 2 of taping.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I'm exhausted.
So
You're exhausting.
we know that people have some very strange dreams at times. I'm one of those people, and sometimes they can be very detailed, and sometimes they, involve people that we know, things from the past, things that maybe we're worried about or what have you. Have you ever had a dream that you then either followed up on or kind of pursued? Maybe something in the dream said, and this is just an example, I have to change jobs or quit my job, or I've got to buy something, or I've got to make a life change. And then you've actually gone and acted on it because you had a dream. Have dreams ever impacted what you've done in your day-to-day life?
I don't think so. my dreams, typically I dream about people for some reason. Like there's been lots of times like people from my past all throughout my entire life, and I will just randomly dream about somebody that I knew years ago for some strange reason. I don't know, it just happens sometimes. But no, I don't think I ever had anything that made me want to, that had a significant change or all that. I mean, sometimes the dreams just really give you pause for thought and you think about things. But no, I have had actual dreams where I've dreamt about somebody that I hadn't thought about in years, and then something happened, within the next week where, I saw something again that reminded me of them, or I end up talking with them, or seeing them, or somebody that knew them, or something like that. So I guess maybe in that way that sort of impacted it, maybe. But yeah, nothing that, said, oh, I'm going to try skydiving now, or I got to quit my job and do something else. No, nothing like that. Has that happened to you?
Well, as you know, I talked about that on the show not too long ago. You can tell everybody the story that I relayed. Go ahead.
You're going to have to remind me.
Oh, listen to this. Our former executive producer doesn't even know the story. Well, I mean, it has happened to me, but for me, and that dream that you don't remember, but I do, obviously, and so do our many, many listeners, but it was interesting because it was so detailed that it was even down to where this person worked. So, I mean, this person worked from, now, I would have to... I always have to sort of relate this to how long ago it was. I was in my house, so that means that I know that it was, we had a friendship, a relationship within the past, let's say it was 12 years. Like, I know that I remember having one dog. I don't know if I had two dogs, so then, yeah, it takes me between 10 and 13 years ago kind of thing. So anyway, point is that I haven't seen this person, haven't talked to them, have had no communication. He works at the bank that we do our business banking at. Again, so 10 years to have never even thought of this person, to then have such a detailed dream where I'm going to the bank to see him. I have never actually dealt with him at the bank before. I just know him separately, and coincidentally, he works at the bank. So in the dream, I go to the bank, and I'm looking for him, walking around going, where is, so-and-so, where, and then we're having, this sit-down meeting, and we're, having conversation. But that's never anything, our relationship was friendship. We were watching TV, we were going and walking my dog, I didn't deal with him professionally at all. So it's kind of interesting that out of nowhere, you can't even say that you're thinking about this person because I don't even, know. So what do you make of something like that, where this is just a random person pulled out of your past from at least 10 years ago, and it's so detailed that it's his job. We were in that bank. That's the way the bank is set up, and in the dream, that's how it was. So would you reach out to the guy? I found him on Facebook and messaged, and I was just like, had a dream about you. What would you think if somebody all of a sudden out of nowhere contacts you and says that?
I would think that would be really weird. It could be creepy depending on who it is. But I know it happens, so I'd be curious to find out more. Again, depending on who it is, I'd want to know what kind of dream or what the details were. But yeah, I think it would be kind of interesting to be like, oh, really? Because usually it would be very, if anybody had sort of a questionable dream about someone, they probably wouldn't contact them. But if it was just sort of a weird, random kind of, oh yeah, we're just hanging out, or we went shopping, or we did something in the dream, or whatever, then yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to hear sort of where that came from. But I don't know, you'd think that something must have triggered it, like you saw something that maybe you didn't realize you saw, like something in your subconscious that sort of triggered that, having that dream. Maybe. Or maybe sometimes it's the person's face, or you recognize it as that person, but it's really sort of just a substitution for something else in your life or somebody else in your life. Maybe
I just needed a deposit.
Could be that. Could be just as simple as that, hey?
Well, I love killing time with you, Suzanne. We've pissed through another show here, so thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure.
Anytime. I just love it when I get the opportunity to chat with you on the radio.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
JB here. I've got to tell you, so it was episode 347 where the first part of our Suzanne calls started, and then we ran out of time, so we just kept rolling. So that's show 347. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Thanks so much for listening. Feel free to give me a shout. Always awesome hearing from you. Live at jbonair.com is the email address. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,